Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Strategy 703, the one and only jilted of gaming, and the coach inner Milotic. Back again with some more Pokemon Showdown action today. This is our Week 3 team builder versus the Meteor Mantine and the Great One. Coming off of a very kind of close 3-0 win against Gustavo and 7-7 and the Las Vegas Gardevoir. So we're pretty hype, and we're ready to make a statement that we want to make playoffs. So we're going to go over just how we're going to do that today. So finally, I actually did the genders for this team properly. So, but before we get into that, we should probably go over the roster. Sorry, it's over here. The roster that he can choose from. So he has Latias, Fable, Mudsdale, Mega Ampharos, Beware, Metagross, Rotom Cut, Diglett, Absol, Xatu, Linoone, and Volbeat at his disposal. Pretty interesting. Definitely a lot of threats on there, but also a lot of repeat typings, which give him opportunities for some holes, as well as opportunities that my mons can capitalize on. In particular, the Latias Fable is really scary. Metagross is fantastic in terms of rock setting. Diglett is pretty good, although he doesn't really have any mons to capitalize on it. And Linoone is actually surprisingly amazing in this matchup that I find, as well as the Beware, of course, because Beware is just a threat in general. But the first thing that I figured out I knew was that Altaria, after it got up a Dragon Dance, hit this team really, really hard. So we're bringing a physical Dragon Dance Altaria today. Hufflepuff, Dragon Dance, Earthquake, Roost, and Return. I brought the Cloud9 instead of the Natural Cure in case you decided to bring Diglett, so the raised special defense wouldn't be a problem in case I decided to go and do damage with my Galvantula. The Earthquake takes care of the Mega Ampharos at +1, as well as the Return. But the Ampharos, it takes care of the Metagross, which was a big thing that was stopping this Altaria from doing well. It did a lot to the Diglett as well. In case the Return didn't kill, the Earthquake could do tons and tons of damage. And then Roost, of course, for reliable recovery, and Return takes on the Latias. It's a roll to 2 KO the Fable. It does a lot of damage to the Mudsdale, even if it is Stamina, I believe is the ability. Beware's done. Rotom doesn't like taking it. Absol's done. Xatu doesn't like taking it. Linoone doesn't like taking it. Volbeat doesn't like this thing. Once it gets to +1, it just works through his team. So the attack stat, I actually this is the first time you've probably ever seen me speed creep. I think this is the first time that I actually speed crept him on, and that would be the Rotom Cut. I sped crept this mon to outspeed a modest Rotom Cut. Not jolly, a modest Rotom Cut, so that I could return without getting just Will-O-Wisped, which would have been annoying. But as well, with just a little bit of speed investment, because I didn't really need the attack. I believe that it's still a 2-hit, a roll to 2 KO Fable with 196 speed or attack IVs. So there's that. That's our Altaria this week. Pretty cool set. Next up, we've got Scizor. He's our choice banded with Iron Head, Knockoff, Bullet Punch, and U-Turn. Knockoff is going to be super clutch because he does have the Metagross and the Latias. So knocking off things, U-turning is going to be super good. I had to bring this thing just because of the Clefable. Bullet Punch just does so much damage, as well as the Iron Head in case I have to flinch. I don't really want to, but I might as well get the extra damage and as well as the chance to flinch if need be, because Diglett is so defensively bulky. If I have to flinch the Beware to death, because I don't really have much for the Beware, and I didn't want to bring the superpower because it left me viable to be revenged or allowed the Latias to set up on me or the Clefable or whatever. So pretty standard set. Iron Head for damage, Bullet Punch for priority, U-turn to pivot around because this team is so very, very susceptible to pivoting. Absol doesn't like getting hit. Linoone doesn't like getting hit. Xatu doesn't even like taking a U-turn. It's dead from a knockoff. unless he's like mass HP, mass defense. Rotom is like almost dead from a U-turn. It's a roll. Ampharos doesn't like getting U-turned on, etc. So that's going to be super, super clutch. Up next, we've got our Vori, Galvantula. We're running Choice Best this time with Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, HP Fire, and Volt Switch. The HP Fire is mainly for the Metagross because Bug Buzz doesn't do enough. It also hits like the Volbeat because, I mean, you can run a bulky Volbeat set. This does a lot to that. I should have definitely run Unnerve in hindsight, but I didn't exactly think about a Tanga Berry Latias or something like that, or like a Rindo Berry Gigalith. It was a possibility, but it was kind of unlikely. But yeah, I didn't really need the HP Fire or HP Ice when Bug Buzz killed anything that was weak to HP Ice, so I just went with HP Fire to do more damage to the Metagross. Volt Switch, again, because this team can be pivoted around pretty hard. And then the Energy Ball for the Gigalith, as well as the Mudsdale. It did pretty decent damage to the Mudsdale, even if it was Assault Vested with the Choice Best. So, no CT Web, especially because he has really good defoggers. He has the Magic Bounce. He has he has one Levitator. He has Xatu, he has two Levitators and Xatu. He has Metagross, which is Clear Body, so it won't matter. So, it was better for me to bring special coverage on this thing and just kind of hit things really hard. Up next, we've got Ozymandias, once again, our Silvally Ghost with Flamethrower, Metal Sound, Flash Cannon, and Shadow Ball. This is my real Fable check. Mass HP takes on Fable really, really good. And I can negate, the Metal Sound negates Calm Mind special defense boosts, which is awesome. I mean, he could run Unaware, but at the same time, if he's running Unaware, then the Calm Mind isn't really that much of an issue for me. And of course, I do have the Flash Cannon to take that on, as well as the Gigalith. It does decent damage to the Gigalith. We've got Flamethrower because Rotom Cut Metagross. Beware doesn't like a Flamethrower. Volbeat doesn't like a Flamethrower. Yeah, that's about it. And then we've got the Shadow Ball for Stab, because it also hits the Latias pretty hard, it hits the Metagross really hard, it hits the Xatu really hard. Doesn't really have much coverage for the Mega Ampharos, but I feel like between Altaria and like Scizor and Altaria are going to take care of that thing relatively well anyway, because most likely the Ampharos is going to be running HP Ice for the Landorus, if I had to guess. If he does run HP Fire, that's fine. Then he can't hit my Altaria at all, pretty much, which is good. So that's a pretty interesting special Silvally set, but then again, Silvally is really versatile, so doesn't really matter. Anyways, we're going on to another thing that comes into Clefable. Our Garbodor visited any time. Blast Sludge, Aftermath, Gut Shot, Haze, Toxic, and Drain Punch. Toxic just to whittle things down, like the Beware, like the Mudsdale. Haze to prevent any Latias or Clefable setup shenanigans, even the Absol to prevent it from SDing, or to negate Meteor Mash boosts from Metagross. Like, Haze is just pretty good in general. The Gut Shot, it does like 80% to Clefable, and then Drain Punch to hit the Absol, the Gigalith, the Linoone, the Beware. The Metagross doesn't even really like taking it that much. It also, like, that helps to actually hit the Metagross as well. I also didn't want to run Clear Smog because, again, Haze does actually worse against the Metagross, while Clear Smog cannot hit it, which would have sucked in case he decided to bring an agility, a weird agility set of Metagross. I just wanted to make sure I covered that. And last but not least, we have our Landorus. Sorry, this was the one that I sped crept to outspeed a timid Rotom Cut. Yeah, this was the one. I think the other one was just kind of like, what can I do to outspeed Max Speed Mega Ampharos, I believe it was the Calc. But this one was for timid Max Speed Rotom Cut. We're running Assault Vest with Earthquake, Superpower, Iron Tail, and U-Turn. Again, the Clefable, because it's just so unpredictable and such a problem for every team, I ran Iron Tail to make sure that I could hit that. Earthquake, Metagross, Mega Ampharos, good Gigalith, good stab, awesome. We got the superpower, which hits the Absol, the Linoone. If it comes in, it can do decent damage to the Beware. You never know. You never know. The Beware could be a problem, so I could probably superpower it to get into low enough health before it ice punches me to death or whatever. And then we got U-turn because once again, pivoting destroys this team. And we're running mass HP. Well, not mass HP. We're running enough speed, and the rest is in HP, as well as mass attack. So, and of course, this has to be Jelly, so that I can actually outspeed the Rotom with these IVs and still be able to live an HP Ice with my Assault Vest from the Rotom Cut. So that's the 6 Pokemon that I'm bringing today, or for this match against TG. And we're going to go now into the updated session segment from last time, which is called, I never really gave it a name, but I've been thinking of calling it just the Sabrina's Corner, because it's like mind reading and whatever. Basically, pit 6. What do I think he's going to bring for this week 6 match? And these are the 6 mons that I believe TG has a very high chance of bringing on your screen. The Latias, Clefable, Metagross, Beware, Rotom Cut, and Linoone. Those are the 6 that I'm predicting out of the 12 that he has the options of. And let me explain why. So, as you can see on your screen as well, I actually gave these Pokemon sets some little bit that I'm predicting. These EVs and IVs are they're not exact. They're just kind of just like, okay, I'll click whatever Showdown tells me to. So don't take those as much into perspective when it comes to the sets that I'm thinking. But starting off with Latias, I'm expecting some sort of bulky defogger set. This thing is a really good defogger. Much better than Xatu in my opinion, and I don't think that he would risk running Xatu because then my Hydreigon has a really, really good time with his team. I think Latias is a much safer play because it does have that really high special defense stat. He can put mass HP, mass special attack, and he can run Psyshock and Draco Meteor to just do a lot of damage to a lot of my threats. Leftovers for reliable recovery, and Roost as well, just in case he has to come in on Ross. Even though I'm not bringing them, but you never know. He could also run some sort of Life Orb set with HP Fire, Dragon Pulse, Psychic, whatever. But I'm expecting a more defensive set. TG is a very smart player, and I feel like he will use Latias's bulkier aspect to his advantage. Up next, we got Clefable. Really standard set. Magic Guard, Thunder Wave, Calm Mind, Moonblast, Flamethrower with leftovers. It could definitely not be modest. It could easily be bold. I'm actually going to change that up super quick. I'm going to put that as bold instead of modest. But this thing, it's Clefable. What more can you say about it? Thunder Wave for speed control against stuff like my Scizor or my Mega Altaria if I'm not Natural Cure. He can do it against my Hydreigon because Flash Cannon does not do a lot to this thing. He's immune to Dragon Pulse. He's immune to Dark Pulse. I found out how annoying it was for Hydreigon to go against Fairies last week after they've Calm Minded up, so he's not going to be fearing that Hydreigon, especially if he manages to get a Thunder Wave off. Leftovers for recovery, of course, because he doesn't want to have to Moonlight. And he could definitely run Moonlight over Calm Mind if he wants to go full, like, I just don't want to die set, but I feel like he could go with a Calm Mind sweeping set. Moving on, we got Choice Bed and Metagross with Stealth Rot, Zen Headbutt, Meteor Mash, and Trick. This is the one that I think will be his Rot setter. I do not believe he's going to be bringing Mudstale. I think that thing is so limited in terms of options, and it won't be really walling much. And if he is bringing it, it's probably going to be Assault Vest. I do not see a Leftovers variant with Toxic. I think that would be very detrimental to him because I could just run Silvally Ice or like my Landorus just beats a Mudsdale with Toxic outright. I can just U-turn around him. I can go into my Galvantula, kill him with an Energy Ball after I EQ like 80% because that thing has no recovery besides Leftovers. And I think he'd be more worried especially around the Alamomola. If I toss at him, then that thing is completely worn down. So overall, I think the Metagross is a better rocker than Mudsdale is. Zen Headbutt for stab, Meteor Mash, both of those things hit so hard. And of course, he's Clear Body, so I can't use my Intimidate Core between Hitmontop and Landorus to lower his attack or anything. So I think that Choice Bandit Metagross is a really, really good set for him. Up next, we've got Assault Vested Beware, Fluffy with Superpower, Return, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. This, I think, is going to be more of his bulky wall breaker. Mon, again, Ice Punch takes on the Landorus. Even at -1, this thing hits so hard, Adamant. Superpower and Return and Earthquake. Return is just great stab, and I mean, I have Silvally Ghost to switch on it just for this reason, because this thing has a hard time taking on my Silvally Ghost unless he runs Shadow Claw. And if he decides to run Shadow Claw, then he's missing out on Earthquake, which can hit my which hits my Galvantula harder. I mean, he could run Return just for the Galvantula, but at the same time, I feel like that might not be good for him. He might think against that. So I think this is the set he's going to bring. I don't think he's going to bring Shadow Claw, and if he doesn't, that means that Silvally walls this thing for the most part. Like, he can still do damage with Earthquake if he has it, but I think, like, for the most part, Silvally will just be able to whittle this thing down, and Flamethrower will do so much with my special Silvally. After that comes our Choice Scarf, Rotom-Mow, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Leaf Storm, and HP Ice. Again, pretty standard set. Just hits hard. Hits hard, like revenge kills if it needs to. HP Ice for Landorus, of course, even though Leaf Storm probably does a ton. Outspeeds everything on my team if he's Scarf. Yeah, pretty standard. Nothing too complicated. It hits the Landorus, hits the Altaria. I mean, he could run HP Fire on this thing if he brings it to hit Galvantula, but then he'd be missing out on the Landorus, so I don't know. But I feel like Rotom-Mow is better than Mega Ampharos in this matchup, just because of its, because it can be Scarfed. Ampharos is going to be slow, and he doesn't really have a good Trick Room setter on his team, besides maybe Xatu. So I think he's going to want to use Rotom to get speed control. He could also bring a leftover set with Will-O-Wisp, but I think the Scarf is a lot scarier for my team. And last but not least, we have Linoone. This thing is a monster. It really, really is a monster. Play Rough, Belly Drum at Stream Speed, and Gaunt Shot. Sorry, not Gaunt Shot. Shadow Claw. There we go. Play Rough, Belly Drum at Stream Speed, Shadow Claw. If this thing gets the Belly Drum off, this thing hits so freaking hard. The only way I could deal with it is if I did bring the Hitmontop Lando Core, which I'm not doing. If he does bring Shadow Claw, expecting the Silvally Ghost, which I'm not sure he will, but if he does, then that might just be curtains for me. This thing is ridiculously good against my team, and if he is smart and he decides to bring it, which I know TG is, he could definitely make use of it, especially if like he gets burned or toxic by my Garbodor. If he runs the Quick Feet, he can just outspeed my entire team. He won't even need to Stream Speed. He can just play up +6 play rough my Altaria and it's dead. He needs +5 at Stream Speed my Landorus and it's probably dead, because I am running not max HP, but I am running a little bit of speed, so that could be detrimental to me. But anyway, those are the Sismons that I'm predicting him to bring the most out of anything else. And that's it. So next time I see you guys, it will be the match for week 3 against TG and the Meet Your Mantine. And yeah, so peace out, guys, and I will see you next time.